So sickle cell disease, at first glance, seems like an overwhelming issue to try to address. The first reason sickle cell feels overwhelming is because of its tremendous burden. There are over 300,000 babies born each year with sickle cell disease in the world, and the number of babies born with sickle cell disease increases each year. And in fact, we are projecting that the number will increase by 32% by the year 2050. The second reason why it feels overwhelming is that although people of any race or ethnicity can have sickle cell disease, and it's in almost every country in the world today, most of the babies born with this disorder are born in resource-poor settings. So 79% of babies born with sickle cell disease are born in sub-Saharan Africa. In many countries of West Africa, 2% of the babies are born with the disorder. But the final reason why I say that at first glance, sickle cell disease feels like an overwhelming problem to try to address is because it's hard to get people to focus on it as a public health priority, because it's often so hidden. Sickle cell disease increases a child's chance of fatal infections. But unlike in the US, where we have newborn screening for sickle cell disease, no country in Africa has universal screening for sickle cell disease yet. And many of these babies often go undiagnosed and unrecognized. And as a result, in these settings, these children die of malaria infection or pneumococcal sepsis without people even realizing that they have sickle cell disease, and that's actually the underlying cause of their death. But I actually want to say that there's actually a lot of good news about sickle cell disease. So despite these grim facts, I've learned two really important things over the last few years about sickle cell disease that has convinced me that this is an area in public health where we can actually make a dramatic difference. The first thing I learned seems quite simple, and it's that babies with sickle cell disease are born healthy. Even though sickle cell disease is a genetic disorder, and so you're born with it, the complications don't manifest immediately. Many of the complications, like infection, that can cause death in these children can be prevented. So our challenge is not to actually reverse some terrible disease. Our challenge is how do we keep children healthy? The second thing that I learned about sickle cell disease that makes me hopeful is that we currently have all the affordable tools today to protect the health and therefore save the lives of almost every child born with sickle cell disease. So small things like newborn screening, penicillin prophylaxis, vaccination, all of these are available, affordable, and feasible interventions that we can use to save over 300,000 babies born with sickle cell disease each year right now. Working on sickle cell disease has changed my approach to science. It has changed my role as a scientist, and it has changed my strategy about helping children. I jokingly say to people, I used to be a geneticist and a biochemist. And in fact, I must confess that even though at CDC, I work as an epidemiologist, I actually do not have a degree in epidemiology. Instead, I have a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology. And so for me as a basic scientist, in my career, the holy grail of science is creation and invention and discovery. It's all about developing something new. So for sickle cell disease, I used to think that that might look like discovering a cure or developing a new drug. But I had an existential moment a few years ago that told me that I was actually on a different path and needed to be on a different path. So I travel a lot in my work, and one day my husband, who is not a scientist, and who was very frustrated because we have 4 kids and I'm never home, He was very frustrated after one of my global trips, and he said that he didn't understand the value of what I did. He said to me, "You're a biochemist. I don't get the point of what you're doing. I don't know why you're doing it and why it takes so much time. Shouldn't you be looking for a cure?" Sweetie, other people are already looking for a cure. Doing that won't be novel. There will be a cure. And unfortunately, if I stay on my current path, I will not be the one who discovers it. But I'm trying to do something that may be just as hard as finding a cure. I'm trying to make sure that when there is a cure, everybody who needs it gets it. Thank you.